Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome to Show to Be with Mike G, the show of life, the show of New Jersey, pork rolls being Italian-American. Today's guest is the wonderful Rachel DelRocco. Met her some time ago when she was residing in Austin, Texas, working at Fino. She was working at Midnight Cowboy. And the thing is, she's not even 30 yet. And she's managed to be one of the biggest influencers in the Houston market and in Texas in general. And I can't wait to see what kinds of things come from Rachel in the future. But I hope you guys enjoy this chat with Rachel DelRocco.
Walking and fell.
Was it those streets are pretty treacherous.
They are pretty bad.
Yeah.
They're pretty bad. We had like an Airbnb down in some back road and the road was just awful. And I twisted both ankles and fell and it just was immediately swollen and
turning blue and all that.
Turned green. A lovely shade of green.
Yeah.
And I, of course, was like, whatever, it's got to be sprained or something, right? And it'll be fine. And I flew home, and then I had to fly to New Jersey. Flew back, worked on it for 4 or 5 days.
Oh my God.
And it just got worse and worse. And it was actually Francisco who was like, this doesn't look very good. So
it's green. Your skin is green.
It was black. It turned black. And finally he was like, okay, it's time to take you to
so you were working on it?
I was working on it. Yeah.
How much did that hurt?
I wrapped it up and just braced it and limped a lot. And
yeah. Sucked it up, I guess.
Yeah. I just
Did you suspect it was broken?
No. I just didn't think that could ever happen, really. I've never broken a bone. I've never done anything. I'm a doctor. Yeah. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm impervious to injury. I think that's what we all think when we're younger.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I went to the hospital. I had surgery, and I was off it for 3 months.
What did they have to do via surgery?
I have some plates and screws. I have 4 screws and a plate.
Really?
Because I broke, not to get all technical here, but I broke my fibula.
Okay.
Diagonally.
Oh,
so
geez.
it was right in the most sensitive spot of the bone. So they had to put it back together in order for it to heal in the right way.
So screws.
So 4 screws and a plate, yeah.
Do they take those out?
Metal. I can, if it's optional.
Can you feel the screws in your ankle?
Yeah.
You can feel it?
You want to?
No, I don't want to feel it. I'm asking if you can.
It's pretty cool.
It's like some Frankenstein shit, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, you can feel them. The scar is pretty gnarly.
Wow.
I feel like I have some more wounds. I feel good about it now.
Does it make it stronger when you would, like, try to kick people now?
Yeah.
You got
if
screws
I do it in the right
ankle.
way, I could probably have a little force behind it if I want to. But, yeah, I actually just started walking again 2 weeks ago.
That's it?
So it was 3 months off of it.
How difficult is that being? Because you were still working, right?
I worked. I had a peg leg.
You had a really?
I had a peg leg.
Like
they have these
Lieutenant
fancy.
Dan?
Yeah, they have the. I wish I could be as cool. But you strap it. You like kick your leg back like those scooters, but instead of wheels, they have like a crutch. So it does kind of look a little pirate.
90-degree angle on
yes.
the. How do you prevent yourself from like dragging it since there's not a wheel?
You actually kind of have to lift it up and walk.
Really?
Yeah.
Are your quads like really strong?
My
now?
one is. My left one is.
It's like one of those things where it's like a mass.
Yeah.
It's massive, and the other one just.
No, it really is. It's pretty, and it's very obvious.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So, I did that for like 2 months.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How does it feel to finally be off the
Awesome.
peg
It feels
leg?
amazing. I am like, I have a brand new lot on life.
Yeah.
I am like going to the grocery store. That's awesome. Like, yeah, I'll run errands. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We do take a lot of things for granted. I mean, I take my ankles for granted every day.
It is, you realize how much you cannot do. Like the amount of things that you can't do. I
just
couldn't
limits
drive
you.
too because it was my right. So
Oh, no. So how'd you get around?
Francisco was my chauffeur when
Yeah.
he was in town, and a lot of Uber.
Uber's good. At least
I even had the same driver once.
Really?
He, like, drove me and recognized me, and
Do you guys develop like a nice
Yeah.
kind of friendship?
yeah, it was great. He like hugged me goodbye and was so happy that I was better, and because the time before
I
he had
remember when
seen
you had a
me,
peg leg.
yeah,
Much improved.
yeah. So I created good relationships.
Yeah.
And
So you made the best of it.
I did the best of it. I started a new job in Houston, and I
Mhm.
did it about 2 months in, and I actually spent more time on the peg leg than I did on my 2 feet at my
Really?
job so far.
So now though, going forward, you
I'm
get
good.
2-3 months in, it's about even.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm
That-
kind of creeping
Yeah.
up on my time.
Yeah, people come in and say, "Where's the peg leg girl?"
Well, no,
You're like,
that's
it's me. It's
yes,
me.
that's what happened for
Really?
a really long time. I mean, I should give my new regulars a little bit more credit, but for a while it was just kind of, I think people got to know me as the one
The
on
peg
the
leg.
peg leg.
It's like Les Mis or something, like that tavern, and everybody's all like real.
Yeah.
They've got wooden legs and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good, but there's something novel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it probably allowed a lot of conversations and relationships
Yeah.
to begin at my new job. I'm
See, it's
sure,
good.
in a good way.
It's a conversation starter.
It was absolutely a conversation starter. And then when I got off of it, I was like, what am I going to talk to people about? What people are not going to want to
Wait,
talk to
wine?
me.
I don't know what wine. I guess we
They
can
don't
talk
wanna
about that.
talk
But what
about
about
wine.
this wooden leg I've got?
Yeah, that was
it-
way more interesting. I was like, I'm not interesting anymore. What do I do?
It's like there was this. This was back years ago. Now there was a guy who wrote a book about picking up women. Now, I'm sure lots of guys have written about that, but this particular guy said he wanted to have one artifact that would make him stand out. Right, so he'd always wear a hat with a feather or a fedora or something like that. Right, and so
smart.
It's
I mean,
smart,
yeah.
and then you kind of different. It's branding. It's really just branding.
I know it probably worked out pretty well for me in the end. So
Your career's been launched forward because
yeah,
of the peg leg.
I'm just gonna wear it anyway from here on out.
Keep that quad going. You know, just
Yeah.
keep it pumping.
Or maybe I'll use it on the other leg now.
balance it.
Can bounce it out, work out the other leg.
You can. You'll be able to crush Francisco.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He pisses you off. Just,
Oh yeah, that thing is massive and dangerous. It's still in the back of my car. I don't want to look at it anymore, but
on to the next chapter. The
we're
post
good. We're
peg
good. Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah, it was an interesting first start to my time in Houston, but I'm looking
Not a
forward
bad
to I'm looking forward to life on 2 legs for sure.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
it's great.
You got wobbly legs.
It's nice. Yeah.
So
Don't
the-
take
you know-
them for granted.
You do, and ultimately that's the whole thing, right? It's like you just take a lot of stuff. You take your health for granted.
Yes.
You know, not you
It is
particularly,
true.
but I mean, we all
yes,
do.
I think we all do.
But there's something, you know, this is interesting. So I've had some, obviously, you know, we met, I think, back in the Midnight Cowboy days. We go back there, and that's kind of what, the hub of a lot of the
At the
people
time.
people being launched into their careers.
Yeah, it
Was
was
Justin
quite a
Crystal.
crew.
It was an incredible crew. But
Yeah.
the thing that I didn't know about you, and I don't think even Bill Norris knew, was that you were from Jersey. Right? Which is funny because Bill is from Jersey.
Yes.
It did never occur to him, I guess.
That is true. Well, that is, I remember. So my first job in Austin was at Fino.
Mm.
And
Is that where you met Francisco?
Yes, it was.
You guys, I guess, moved, because if I recall the conversation, touch and go. Like, you didn't spend a lot of time
Right.
with each other, but enough to make contact. And
Yeah, and stay in touch
Yeah.
when we both moved on. But yeah, he would hate, I don't know if he would hate me for saying this, but I trained him actually I don't know if he said that.
He said that exact thing.
And he probably called me out for my things that I said about people's drink orders or something. We still joke about that for that day. Oh, crap. But yeah, no, I started at Fino, and I remember applying and then getting an interview and walking into the bar, and Bill Norris was behind the bar at Fino. Mm-hmm. And he asked me if I was the girl who worked at As You Like It ice cream. And Bill will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It was like a tiny little ice cream store on the corner of my town in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Very, very small, like Italian town
I
grew up in. And he grew up in the town over. So not only just from New Jersey, but we grew up in the town next to each other, be it at different times. Yeah. Sorry, Bill.
He's real old. He's getting older as we speak.
But he said that to me, and I feel like that may have had something to do with me getting hired, which I'm very thankful for in the end.
No one thinks that it's Jersey that'll get him hired for anything.
Especially in Texas.
Exactly.
You kind of feel like an outsider, but I walked in and he was from, I think, Neshannock Station, which is the town over. And
no kidding.
I met him like as I was going in for my interview, and we talked, and we've been close friends ever since.
Yeah, wonderful guy. Been very influential to me.
He's
personally
amazing.
Too.
Yes.
Very good. So how was it growing up in Jersey? I ask that of everybody, but what's that like? What's growing up in Jersey like?
Awesome. I probably didn't think so at the time, but looking back on it, I am very appreciative, and I'm sure that's what a lot of people say.
Maybe some people hate their
oh no, yeah, no, I love my small town. It was part of, it's in Central Jersey, and it was a very small Italian town.
Okay,
so I grew up with a lot of that culture.
Tell me, I'm pretty white. There's no Italian. I don't think I got any Italian going on. Maybe some European stuff, maybe Eastern European. What would you say defines the Italian culture as you saw it when you were growing up?
Well, Italian, I will say, is different from Italian American.
Okay.
Because I'm going to make that differentiation because I don't think it's fair. Sure. But it is some of the stereotypes that you see in movies and TV shows, you start to realize are actually pretty true.
Really?
Or they come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I grew up, it was very family oriented. Mm-hmm. Like my entire family we grew up around each other, next to each other, together all the time.
Right.
Cousins, second cousins. My dad had 60 first cousins.
60?
60. And
that's a lot.
There's a lot of them. My grandfather had 10 brothers and sisters. So did my grandmother.
Wow. Just trying to take over the world, it seems.
Yeah,
like.
they were a special.
Catholic?
They were very special. They were.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but because my dad married out of the Catholic Italian.
Oh, really?
Which was fine.
Okay. Yeah.
It was okay. But it was, so I grew up with my family, really, at the end of the day. And my grandfather was like the mayor of the town. And
oh, man.
It was just such a small town. Everybody's Italian. There's DelRossos and blah, blah, blah. And we had like a festa around the corner from my house.
Tell me what that is.
It's this old tradition where they take like the statue of Moses through the street.
Maybe I've seen that in a couple movies.
So we would do that in Raritan, and where I grew up. And then the end of it was like a big party in the parking lot of the Catholic church, and we would have pizza frites with sauce and sugar and pig roasts and sausage and peppers and rides and games.
Oh my gosh.
And everybody. It was a big party for the town, and we had just bakeries. You know, you would walk downtown and you'd have bakeries with all cannolis, and there's Italian food. So I grew up with with a family that ate pasta, really, and that's about it. No.
I'm real envious about
so I was definitely, talking about it, I was definitely embroiled in the Italian American culture, and it was very much just like family.
Is there a way I can join? I mean, blood. The cannolis, the drinking, the partying, the pizza.
I don't
I can't do it, can I?
I don't think
Shit.
so.
They're
I
gonna
just
check my
all
resume,
I
aren't they?
keep thinking about are my male cousins and uncles, and they're very. I mean, Francisco was just with me in New Jersey last week,
Mm.
and I'm pretty sure that my uncle went up to him and said, "You're marrying my niece. I hope I like you," or something along those lines. And it was just the
Wow.
first meeting, and I'm like,
What it did-
nope. I warned you.
You know what kind of gauntlet you gotta go
Yeah.
through, Francisco? Maybe that's why he's like, I don't know when we can get married because it's gonna take me all this paperwork. Is
Yeah,
gonna take
it's and he has to go through the family. This is like a second cousin that is very important to. He's got to go through like
the order, right?
the order.
The
He has to go through the
hierarchy.
hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the cousins have to like him. And I mean, my brother
Oh
is
my
the,
gosh.
the
Has he met him?
ultimate. Yes, he has.
How's
And
that?
It's working out
Good.
well.
So far, it's good.
Yes.
Is it
I think
older
it'll
brother
be
or younger brother?
He's a younger brother.
Yeah.
So, but he's still scary. He's a firefighter. And
Oh,
and
shit, really?
He's big and has crosses on his leg.
Bulky.
Yeah,
Oh
he's-
man. Luckily I'm sitting pretty. You know, I'm having a good time thinking like, man, I don't know. Francisco's got a lot of hurdles to overcome here.
Yeah, he had a lot of hoops to go through. Luckily, he's done all right.
Well, so this brings
So
up the
far.
question. So since it seems like a very insulated and protective community, right? That
Yes.
they would certainly look after you,
Absolutely.
have your back, as they
Yes.
say.
That is true.
How were you even able to date in high school?
I'm going to say that was more me. I did not date in high school.
What just you didn't feel like it, or
I
didn't
didn't
date
feel
much
like
either,
it. Yeah, I didn't. I kind of met people here and there, but I didn't. I was kind of I just wasn't. I was so ready to get out
Yeah.
and like move, and I was like, I hated high school. I was not
Right.
a fan of high school.
was it just having to go to high school? Was it the
Yeah,
people?
it was. It's funny because, like I said, at the time, I probably didn't think that I appreciated my small hometown,
Right,
but
right.
it was very isolated, and I was ready to go off
Get
to the
out.
big city and
Gotcha.
get out. And
Was New York the big city at that
it
point?
was.
Yeah.
I did move to New York, but yeah, and so I kind of kept to myself. I had a couple friends that I hung out with,
Mm-hmm.
and had my own kind of thing going on.
Is it now? Let me ask. So is it that maybe? And I don't know. So I grew up all over the place, but maybe you didn't want to fall into the trap, which is high school sweethearts, having a family with that. You know what I mean? Like, because that for a lot of people,
It's
that's
what
a trap.
happens. It's my parents.
But
My
then that's
parents are high
totally
school
fine,
sweethearts.
right?
Yeah, and
But-
they're sweethearts. But yeah, no, I wasn't. Yes,
Makes
exactly.
you aware, right? It's
You
just
are
like,
correct.
Oh shit! Well, if I even just have one lapse in judgment, I could end up pregnant, knocking out kids in New Jersey, and I don't want to do that.
And yes, that's just not for me.
Yeah. But I think it's a very reasonable threat. at
It
that point.
happens. It
It
definitely
totally does.
happens. And I had lofty goals for
Larger
myself.
goals, right?
So I was
When you-
ready.
So when you got out, did you ever want to do the college thing?
I did go to college.
Okay,
Yes.
so was that in New York? Is that
I
when
went
you
to
moved?
school in New York.
Where'd you go?
yes. I went to Fordham University.
Fordham. I've heard of it, but
yes.
what are they known for? Would you say?
They're a Jesuit university.
Okay.
And they have two campuses in New York. One is in the Bronx. I went to the one in Manhattan, and that was definitely a liberal arts kind of based school.
Right, right.
We had a lot of famous alumni in the theater department.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Were you studying theater?
I wanted to, but I did not end up doing that. I studied philosophy.
Philosophy?
Instead. Yes. So
How was that? What was that
It was
experience?
fine. It was, it's funny that you said that. I was actually just thinking about this earlier today. It was great. And, it's funny. I just didn't know what I wanted to do when I was
Yeah.
in school. I was I knew I wanted to learn and have an education and have a degree. That was kind of a goal of mine. But
Sure.
at the time, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I wanted to do all different kinds of things.
Yeah, lust for life. at that point, right?
And I studied international studies for a while and then switched to philosophy because I just wanted to learn. And I thought the material was insightful
Sure.
and would be helpful in life in general, but also kind of it's a good springboard major to kind of go wherever you wanted to do. It's very writing oriented, logic, arguments, morality, ethics, and I was kind of like, that's like the kind of thing that I took with me sense, right? from my college education, which I think is invaluable. A lot of people don't look at it like that, but that's something that I appreciated a lot. And the Jesuit education too is really cool in that.
Tell me what that means exactly. I'm not a religious guy. I don't know if I think it's a religious thing.
Well, the new pope I think he was Jesuit.
Okay,
if I'm not correct. So if I'm not mistaken, but it's Catholic based.
Okay.
But it leans very much towards the liberal side
like secularism
of
things,
stuff? Of kind of tolerance and a lot of our education was connecting with the world outside of the institution, and connecting with the world around you, and having tolerance for other people, and just a general education. Our core curriculum was huge, so we had to learn everything. So I walked away with that. I think more than anything, than any kind of major I could have had. Yeah, it definitely changed. College was a very life-changing experience for me.
Was it? So I
imagine,
lovely. Like
it was a lovely experience.
The scope is that so you're thinking, I don't want to be small town. I don't want to fall into that trap that so many have fallen into before me. I'm going to go to a big college, Fordham in Manhattan, and I have to suspect that maybe that's where relationships and things like started coming in.
Yeah.
It's like,
I got myself into trouble from day one. I was like, let loose.
Why not though? You're just getting out of it.
I had kind of kept myself a little sheltered in high school, and then I got to New York, and I was like, it was funny because it wasn't like we didn't have frats, we didn't have sororities, and I lived in Manhattan, so that was kind of my campus, which was interesting, but I definitely took advantage of it. All the things.
No, there's so much, right? Like, why not? I breathe it all in.
Oh yeah, you're meeting people from all over. You're, people that you didn't think existed when you were in high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually, all of my best friends that I still have to this day, I met when I was in college. And so it was a pretty great experience.
Are there lots of ragers, as they say, at a Jesuit
yes.
school?
Yeah.
There has to be.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I didn't know many of them because I wasn't, I guess I was pretty tame. I thought I was crazy coming out of like a straight edge high school experience, but it probably wasn't that bad.
Do you claim yourself as straight edge?
When high school I didn't drink at all.
You did, but you would call yourself that?
I did.
That's all right. This is an interesting
I did.
thing
I was very proud of myself.
Of being straight edge.
Yeah.
So,
which
amazing.
Is not.
We're here in our, 10 years later at least.
Right.
So I had a conversation last night with J.R. Mockanu, who's at Vox Table.
Mm-hmm.
And he grew up, and one of his better friends that he started working with is a straight edge guy. And I'm like, oh, I get that. I was moshing with those guys like in the 90s at hardcore shows. They're pulling knives, like all this and all that. But it was a fleeting memory because I hadn't thought about straight edge for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it? This is ultimately what I'm getting at. It was it the fact that you had like control of not drinking and not smoking, or was it the music? Was it like a cultural?
Definitely wasn't a music thing.
Because that was part of it.
I think it was probably part of it. It wasn't for me. It was just more of claiming yourself as someone who, I guess, yes, kind of had a different lifestyle. Yeah. I feel like maybe
I got control.
Yeah,
I know what's going on.
Probably, and also just, maybe it was a way to kind of differentiate yourself in high school when you didn't really know what you were doing. Yeah.
Were you doing the X's on your hands and stuff?
No, I wasn't that cool.
Man, there's lots
I was
of cool
not
kids
that cool. I followed around the Dave Matthews Band when I was in high school.
None of those Dave Matthews fans were straight edge.
They weren't. I was though. I was that one. I was hardcore dedicated.
So it must have been like an amazing experience going to college. I mean, I get what you're throwing down. There's a lot of stuff moving socially in college. But that's good. It was a great experience.
It was good. I had my, had all those experiences finally. Like,
you listen to a lot of Jewel. That was a lot of
people. Actually.
Yeah,
I did.
I don't want to be stereotypical, but I have a feeling a lot of people listen to Jewel.
Yeah, I did. I absolutely did. Yeah, a lot of those singer-songwriters. Well, I wanted to be. I was tried to do some singing and songwriting out of college. And so I was all into the like female singer-songwriter thing.
What do you play if you do play?
I used to play guitar and piano.
Okay.
And I sang and I wrote songs.
All the way through high school and
through college, yeah. And then out of college.
Did you perform?
No, I performed smaller groups. I never actually got onto like a big stage that I could say, but I would perform for like little rooms of people in college.
What happened there?
And I played with a cool little banjo player for a little while. He helped me with my songwriting. You know what happened? I started working in a restaurant.
Like, man, that music shit doesn't make any money.
Yeah, I did. I was in the restaurant industry, and I was waiting tables, thinking that I would do. I did it in college, and then stayed at the same place when I graduated, and then thought that it would give me time to work on my music. But I ended up getting so obsessed with the restaurant stuff that I stopped. So then I moved to Austin. Because of a friend of a friend.
When did you move to Austin?
2010.
So not that long ago, really.
Not that long ago.
And so you moved so you had been doing some of the service stuff and hospitality in New York. So what was the impetus then to move to Austin?
Well, my best friend from college, who I met my first day at Fordham, moved. She was from San Antonio and moved to Austin.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and she had a baby and moved to Austin, and I loved it down here, so I would come visit all the time.
Oh, really?
And at the time,
I was to visit her.
Yeah,
or
just to visit her. And at the I was like, it's a great music town. If I want to do this music thing, I need to try something else. And
really,
I was also in New York and over it.
Were you doing cocktail stuff
there
too?
I was not.
So I was more the restaurant side of it.
I was managing a tea house.
Oh.
Yeah, I did that in New York. I actually did not get into the beverage stuff until I moved to Austin.
Really?
Yeah.
But the first site was on maybe rekindling that music.
Yeah.
Here in Austin.
Yes.
Did you? Did you play?
No, I didn't actually.
Really?
I started getting really into the beverage stuff instead.
Wow.
I started spending my time like memorizing cocktails and studying wine instead of playing. I played a little bit and wrote a little bit, but I ended up spending a lot of my time wanting to learn more about
the deep pit of knowledge that is spirits knowledge. And beverages.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then here we are.
so you came into Austin 2000.
That's my life story. Yeah.
All right, well,
not all of it. Then we're done. We're done here. No.
So 2010, Austin is kind of ramping up in the cocktail sense.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff percolating, lots of things
yes.
lots of personalities in the mix and kind of like starting to come into the scene. What was your first gig when you moved to Austin?
Fino.
Oh, so Fino was
It was. Okay. Well, I had a couple jobs that I took for a few months that didn't end up working out. And Fino was my first gig that I stayed at for a very long time and got very involved in. I was actually a hostess.
Oh, really?
Fino. Yeah. And I got hired as a hostess by Brian Stubbs.
Stubbs, yeah.
He was my...
Did he have a beard then, too? Has he always had a beard?
Yes, he did have a beard. And why I remember this is because he had just gotten married a few months before. So he had shaved.
Just kidding.
And then let himself go once he was allowed to. Yeah. But my interview was with him. And and I ended up taking another job which didn't work out. And then I called him like a few months later on a whim and was like, hey, do you remember me? Can you help me? I need a job. And it ended up working out.
It totally worked out.
Yeah. So I find that a very serendipitous interview. Which
Well, that's how lots of that stuff is, right? Like they position you, and then you're working alongside Bill. Was Josh there? Josh working there too?
He was just taking over for
cool.
Bill at the time.
And then I was Francisco, of course.
He came later right? Actually, yeah. But the people I remember hostessing, which I forget, Fino's not there anymore, but you walk in and on the right is the host stand and then the bar is right behind. Mm-hmm. So when you're working at the host stand, you're basically on like a slow night or a lunch, you're standing and hanging out with all the bartenders.
Right.
And it was Josh and it was Bill and Houston Eves.
Houston worked at Fino?
Houston worked there.
Shit, really? I had no idea.
Yep.
His birthday today lunches, too, by the way.
Happy birthday, Houston. And Brian Dressel.
Dressel worked at Fino?
Yeah.
My mind is just being blown in here.
Yep. And I can't, if anybody else was there, don't get mad at me, but those are the ones I remember. Aaron Reed came in eventually.
So it's
and Clinton Dean, who's at Lenoir for a while, now at Didue, he was there. Yeah.
It feels like the Byrds, like kind of pre-Zeppelin, right? Like you get these players like Jimmy Page and everybody's like, they're just doing their thing. They don't really break huge. But then that next step was every single of these people.
Was huge.
Yeah. Meteoric rise.
It was, and I got to watch it all from my host stand.
It's so amazing.
I always think I was really lucky that I moved when I did to be able to kind of get in on that, to watch all of that happen. It was a pretty cool.
It was a monumental
experience.
Phase in this whole the whole life cycle of Austin cocktail culture.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy to think because I see what everyone's doing now, and I'm just like, I can't believe that 5 years ago I was
5 years
watching them. It was 5 years ago, and then they all went off to do really cool stuff,
bigger and better things.
I eventually got behind the bar there at Fino.
How did you feel making that transition from hostessing to bartender?
Right. Well, it was a slow transition. I went from hostess to server to bartender. And it's exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah. I knew it. It was kind of, I had been in the restaurant industry, but never fell in love with it fully until I discovered this whole kind of cocktail wine and spirit world.
Was there something that...
And then it was kind of I fell in love and I was like, oh.
Was there anything you tasted that really made it came into light and kind of gave you some clarity? Because there's always some sip. Not that it's the only one, but there's something that's like, oh shit, I never thought about this before.
I feel like it may have been a rum, but I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah. But there was some rum.
It was probably an agricole because I have a love for that to this day. Mm-hmm. And I strongly remember Heyman's Old Tom Gin.
Yeah.
I do.
Killed it and just kind of opened
Or
up
it was
your mind
Ransom or something like that. And I think I just, got into, I just thought what they were doing was just so cool.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do
this. So getting tossed into the cave that is Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah.
Like, how was that? It was a boys' club.
Oh, that was fun for me. It was actually a weird transition because I worked behind the bar at Fino. And that was great. Mm-hmm. And then I started selling spirits. So for Virtuoso with John Garrett.
Yeah, with John,
Yeah. And I did that.
But you did that. If I recall, you had done some work at Midnight Cowboy, then transitioned, right? Or did you do Virtuoso first?
No, not yet. I did Virtuoso first.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
And then I realized that sales was just not my bag.
Break your back, man.
Was my bag. Yeah. Which is fine. It's for some people. It was not for me.
Yeah.
And I missed the other side a lot.
Yeah.
I would go visit accounts and I would be jealous of people that I saw behind the bar. And I was like, I think I need to...
It's calling your name again.
So I got in touch with Brian Dressel and they had been open for a few months. And so I got back behind at Midnight Cowboy. And
the most cavernous of places in Austin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was it was really cool because I felt like I learned cocktails kind of all over again. I feel like every place that you go to and every bar you work in and every person that you work under, it kind of, you learn something different from every place that you work in. And I'm sure that goes for a lot of people, but I worked in many different places and they all taught me very different things.
Which makes, if you think about it, how dissimilar all the lessons are, you become much more enriched as a result, right? 'Cause you're this culmination of all of those things.
Volume and technique, and every bartender I've ever worked with has taught me something different or new or has had their own spin on things, and you get to kind of take it all in and learn something new and take it as you go and then kind of create your own style. But it was cool. I remember working my first day at Midnight Cowboy. I worked at the cart with Stephen Robbins.
Stephen.
Yeah.
Wonderful gentleman.
Who
Consummate gentleman.
I love dearly.
Yeah.
It was Josh and Adam Bryan and all those guys.
I reinforce this phrase, but it was the dream team.
It was pretty awesome. They're still really, really good friends of mine, and it's definitely hard. I mean, to be a female in that kind of setting, I believe.
Yeah,
that's a whole other conversation. I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
It is, but what?
Which I may
I'll never. Yes, please pour some more
females in the bar industry.
Oh no, we have to talk about that because I don't know, right? I'll never know unless I have some specific kinds of surgery. What it takes, but they'll still know me as Mike from before. So then there's some bias, but
maybe.
How is it?
If he's successful,
maybe. How is it being? Because was Jen there yet?
Yeah. Yes.
So there were two females.
I believe so. And, who's also wonderful.
Right, she's great. But what's the
Jacqueline?
Right? Yeah.
She was hostessing there. She was a hostess. Yeah.
So. But you're outnumbered.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and these guys are...
I feel like we still are.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not tending bar anymore, but...
But still, just generally speaking.
For sure.
But how do those nights go? Because for me, it seems like, it's really great. I'll sit and I'll drink with all these guys. But I can't imagine... They're not... I want to use the word misogyny, but I don't ever pick that up with these guys.
No,
you know what I mean?
It was never like that.
They're so open. But it is inherently, you have this energy of this masculine energy that's in a dark. Yeah. It's a fucking massage parlor, for God's sake. It's in the walls, you know?
Yeah. It's I mean, none of them were ever like that. I mean, like I said, if anything, I am still close and they became some of my best friends here in Austin. And if more than anything it became more of a brotherly, sisterly, protective type of relationship more than anything. But working in the bar industry as a female in general, I think is just very difficult. And not in a sense of working in that environment, but you do have to kind of, there are conversations you get left out of. It's definitely boys clubbish. Yeah. It can be. And you do have to kind of, you have to drink with the boys and you have to do the things, and that I don't think is necessary, and I think it kind of sucks sometimes. But I think that was always kind of a thing. I always enjoyed that, so it never became a problem for me. Right? Yeah. But you did. I felt like you were kind of always under a watchful eye a little bit,
because in a way,
and you kind of, I think you have to prove yourself a little bit harder. I do. Yeah. And a lot of people say as females, just do the work and you'll get the recognition, whatever. Right? Yeah. But I do feel like you have to work that much harder. I think you have to work a little bit harder. I think you have to, bring your skills to the table and show people that you're serious and that this is something that you want to do. I think that was also a hard thing to prove, was, that you're just doing this because it's a cool thing to do, or because you want to be part of the boys club, or you want to do something. And it's proving your actual love for the craft was, I think, really a difficult thing. And you know, they're all about, they were wonderful, but
it's just an implicit dynamic.
Yeah, I think it just happens. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing to recognize, really. Like,
No, I think
that
it's
there.
a conversation. We have to have that
I
conversation.
agree with
you
yes,
know?
absolutely.
Like, it is different, and so I'm not behind the bar. I'm not legally allowed to be. That's my boilerplate statement is that I'm not allowed to be. Right? But I can't imagine. I just can't imagine.
Well, it's just such a, I mean, there's so, I feel like it's such a layered conversation, especially having had worked with all of these guys
Yeah.
and watched their dynamics with coworkers and regulars and customers and then and then your dynamic with everyone around you is
Right.
different and is something else that you have to kind of navigate on your own.
Yeah.
You know, in the way that you're perceived or the way that you want to, you know, and you're working at night and you're working in a place where, you know, there's alcohol involved.
Right.
And when you're, you know, there's that whole aspect of it, which, you know, you have dealing with like men regulars who drink too much
Right.
or being the girl who has to cut somebody off or, you know, and it's just a very interesting dynamic. I think about it a lot and have always wanted to do more or you know, further the conversation, but there are some really, I mean, it's more prevalent now than I think it was a few years ago. I mean, with like, you know, girls crushing it at like Drink Well and,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
like,
that's
I
who
mean,
runs
the
that,
girls
yeah.
are, you know, my girls at Key are crushing it behind the bar now that
Yeah.
you know, and I hope to see more of that. And I think people are really finding a love for it. But I think, you know, how many of those women have to like start getting their name out there and what do they have to do that?
you think
It's always a good question, you know?
Do you think it's more uphill for them?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's a boys' club.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think you have to fight a lot of misconceptions, fight a lot of different kind of problems behind the bar. I mean, there's always, you know, finding regulars, finding people that want to come see you. I think, you know, having people go see female bartenders is a little bit more tough as a regular.
Yeah.
A lot of regulars I see just fell in love with the boys I worked with, but sometimes didn't want to give me the time of day, or there's still a lot of that, like, have the bartender pour me a whiskey, and you're like, have him pour me a whiskey, and you're like,
as you frown.
that's my face. Yeah, sorry, you can't see my face on a podcast, but those are my eyes.
Furrowed brow, they would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think those are the things that kind of face female bartenders these days. I think it's better. I think there's more of us, and I think there's strength in numbers, which is exciting. And there's women that are out there like doing the career and
running things behind the scenes,
crushing it.
You know, I think of Lindsay Johnson, like,
yeah,
because she is a titan, and that was the word. I stick to that. I posted the word titan. I'm gonna stick to that word. She is so entrenched in the intelligence, and she knows everybody, but she connects people together. Like, there's no stronger personality in the industry. And that's an amazing model.
Yeah.
Amazing person to look up to. You know?
Yeah.
For anybody, for me too, because she's so good. She's charismatic and intelligent, business savvy. I mean, shit, it doesn't matter if it's guy or girl. Like, that's an amazing model.
And I think I just, you know, I mean, we're still fighting the good fight in every career possible out there. I still think there's a glass ceiling. We've only been doing things now for what, like 60 years? So
just about.
I mean, we still have some work to do, and I think in the industry it's, you know, there's a lot of issues in the way people look at women and the way they get hired and what they get hired for, and I think there's a lot to prove sometimes, but I think it's getting easier, which is exciting, and I think there's more of us out there, which is also exciting, and I
Very
think
much so.
Yeah.
So it's changing. So
I think
the
so.
positive thing, right?
I think it is, yeah.
It is still this implicit dynamic. It is a boys' show, and lots of the markets and stuff in Austin too. But it's improving.
Yeah. I would definitely love to see more female beverage professionals like get more press.
Yeah.
I feel like guys get a lot more than some of the girls that are currently in the industry
Given
do.
there's lots, oddly enough, most of the food writers are female too.
Yeah.
In Austin anyway. That's I can vouch for that. But
I'd love to see more of that, more focus on what they're doing, and even just people, behind the bar that aren't necessarily have a title.
Yeah.
I think that's important too. There are people running the show behind, that go in every night and create great cocktails, and their cocktails are on menus, and they're charismatic and wonderful bartenders, but because they don't have a title or a business or anything,
pay no mind.
Media,
man.
I think we need to. So
it's good. You're absolutely right.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe I'm right. I'm not gonna say it, but it's possible. I'm right. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, so as somebody that has worked with all of these wonderful men, you do get kind of you get shoved aside a little bit, but as long as you keep your head down and keep working, and I'm gonna keep fighting the female good fight if I can.
Do you feel like that? Do you feel like you can be a mentor to younger females in the industry?
I would love to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are there
if
any
one
programs
can set out? I don't know, but that's a fantastic idea, Mike.
Yeah. All right. No, I'm got a pen here. I'm gonna note this down.
No, that's something that I kind of have been I've been thinking so much about. I love the beverage industry very much. I love what I do. And maybe, maybe it's my Jesuit education speaking here, but the things that really, really fascinate and interest me are those underlying issues that we deal with in what we do, that I would love to start bringing a little bit more to the conversation or the forefront.
I think that's great.
It's the plan. I'll figure it out somehow.
It's always about the vehicle. So what's the vehicle to bring that forward? And in a sense, like, maybe that's one of the reasons that I want to have the podcast. I want to talk to people is just, we think we're talking about booze, right? It's almost like this bait and switch, right? Where I'm like, oh no, it's a show about booze.
Feeling. I know.
Yeah, right.
I've listened to a couple or two.
Yeah, no, from what I understand, you listen to a couple. But it's not about that. It's not about booze. It's about people in this industry. It could be any industry. It could be the steel industry. It doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's people being creative, people being driven, and people trying to coexist.
Yeah.
And that's all that it is.
It's beautiful.
That's it. And so
it is.
Yeah, one of those moments. So actually, let's take this moment, because it's a wonderful stopping point, or at least a pause, to talk about the bottle that you selected, which is an amazing bottle. If they had put it out in a 750, I'd be a lot more happy, since I only have a
I know, I'm
little
so sorry.
375.
Too large.
No, it's fine.
Pours.
You're not in town very often, so
you
get a pass on this one.
If
like someone else came over that I see all the time and drink half the bottle, I would probably rake them over the coals. But this is the Eric Bordelais.
Yes,
That's
it's
right.
the Eric Bordelais Calvados.
53% ABV, 18 months, single cask too. And what do you think?
It's delicious.
Yeah.
It is delicious. You can definitely get the age on it, though.
Yeah.
The wood kind of notes definitely come out. I was curious about this bottle, though, because I am working now in Houston, and my boss, David Keck, and has been talking. We have Eric Bordelais. We have his ciders at the bar, and he's mentioned this Calvados a few times, and I haven't yet been able to try it. And so I was listening to a long conversation about how, the interest in like finishing and how you finish spirits rather than the spirit itself.
Right.
I've heard some rumors about Eric Bordelais coming out with some other things.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's always an interesting conversation too. So
Yeah.
I was curious. I haven't had the Calvados yet, so I saw it on the shelf.
The
and
wall,
said, "Boom,
the wall of fame."
boom! I'm gonna try that one because I haven't been able to yet.
So, how do you feel the age rounds out the fuminess of the apple brandy?
I like it. I think it brings out like a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Definitely mellows out the apple.
The
though. But you can still
punchies.
get it though.
You
so
totally
it might.
do. Yeah.
It kind of mellows out the tartness and that kind of like mealy, like straight malic
Yeah.
thing that you get
Yeah.
when you kind of have like tart wines or tart apple brandy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice because it kind of rounds it out and makes it a little bit more baked.
Yeah.
Kind of
Baked.
gives it a little
That's
bit more
perfect
baked
word
character.
for it. Rounds it, caramelizes it, all that. Yeah.
Especially with kind of the oak aging. So it's lovely. And the oak isn't
53.
too much
No.
either. Oh, I wouldn't even been able to tell that was 53.
Yeah, I mean, it feels 40s. 42, 45. Yeah. Another
Thanks,
half
Mike.
glass, another 100 milliliters. No, it's beautiful. It's one of the expressions of Calvados that opened my mind to its capacity to be different.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a lot of Calvados, but this is just exceptional.
Yeah.
And I hope there's more of it to go around because it's really something lovely people need to get.
Yeah, but that's the thing about really, really small producers is that there isn't a lot.
Yeah. I know. The guys I know that have it, they're not opening it. I'm like, well, if I die tomorrow, I'm on a downward spiral course in life. What do I don't want to keep any bottles sealed up on the counter down there.
I'm not leaving that for my kids.
Yeah, no way.
Please.
Kids what? Terrible. So from Midnight Cowboy, you went to Key, right? With Justin?
Or
was there another
I was
intermediate
I was kind of all over the place. This was my period of like bartender. I was all
Wanderlust?
over the place. Yes, pretty much. I actually went to Contigo, and I was there tending bar for a while.
Steven there at that point too?
Yes, I did. I worked for him at Contigo. You do. Yeah, I know. It's one big, small, incestuous family that we
are terrible people. Incestuous.
I have worked with all of them at a million different places. But I did work for Steven. I was there and kind of did a little moonlighting at a few places, East Side Showroom and Weather Up, actually. I was kind of cocktailing there for a little bit. I loved Contigo. I loved my time there. I loved working for Steven. And then I just got the offer to work at Key. So I took it. And
it's a great program over there at that point.
Yeah.
Michael Simon over there then? Or had
he
left
was.
already?
He started... I started with him, but he left shortly after.
Yeah.
It was very interesting just to open up a place of that caliber.
Oh man, no kidding.
Being part of the opening staff.
Did you feel the expectations? Because I could even feel it.
Oh gosh, yeah. It was. Yeah, it was one of those things where you got offered that job and there was no option to say no.
Right.
You know, you
have to.
It. Yeah.
Do you want to be on the All-Star team?
Pretty much.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Who says no to that? Nobody
I
says
don't
no
know.
to that. Yeah.
I did not. But it being part of that opening staff was definitely an experience that I don't think I'm ever going to have again. It was definitely a learning experience.
Yeah.
A really cool environment. I ended up meeting June. Mm-hmm. Well, I had known June before, but getting to work with her, that was part of a huge reason why I wanted to work there, was to kind of expand my wine knowledge and behind the bar as well. I mean, it was just, and then chefs and food, which I always had a huge...
Amazing food, though.
It was
everything, right?
It was just and still to this day, I can't believe that I've worked with some of the people that I worked with over there, but I definitely had a great relationship with Justin, and that's where that kind of started, which was really nice. And
wonderful guy.
For him was awesome. So more than awesome. I mean, I have a lifelong brother out of that guy. I'm actually begging him to go out with me after this. We'll see.
He better. I'll call
That's
him
what I
too.
told him.
I'll reinforce it. I'll call him and tell him. Not that he'll listen to me, but call Allison. Call his wife.
Oh, I will. Oh, yeah.
That's how you. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Go around him. Go to the real boss.
Yeah. Truth.
So what I knew of this recent or the most recent chapter is you moved to Houston. Did you move to Houston to accept a job, or did you just move out there to see the opportunities?
It was actually pretty, also weirdly serendipitous kind of thing that happened. First of all, Francisco had moved out to Houston about a year and a half before I did.
You guys were dating at that point?
We were, okay. Yeah.
Long distance.
So we were long distance. And I was at Key, and we decided to do long distance because I had taken the beverage director position, and was excited about that. He got a job at the pastry war. And we both wanted to take advantage of the opportunities. And so we did it for about 1.5 years. And after about a year, the time had come to make a change in that whole situation. Yeah. So I had reached out to David Keck, who is a pretty all-star wine dude in Houston and all over. And he was the only one I really wanted to work for.
That's good, though. Don't just keep it specific.
I was pretty adamant about wanting to work for him and him only. Like, I knew that I wanted to move to Houston. I was ready for a change. I was ready personally for a change. I was ready to be with Francisco. And I reached out to David, and I begged him for coffee, kind of put out the feelers, and was like, so I'm kind of thinking about moving to Houston. What do you think? You
so sheepish about it, like, oh, yeah, what do you think?
I could admit this now, but I was at coffee just being like, what do you have going on? What about other people? Anything else? Anyway, let me know how your thing goes in a few months. And, he had written me an email and just said that there wasn't a spot. So I was kind of trying to figure out my plan and figure out what was next. And I got a phone call from him in June, I think. And he said, hey, I have an opening. Yeah. Do you want to stage and see how you like it? And so I went, and
it's like everything's turning up, Rachel.
I was like, yes, I did it. I tell him to this day, I was like, I stalked you till I got that job.
You don't have to tell him that.
It's fine. I told him that anyway.
It's one of those strategic...
It's an open and honest policy that we have. It's
trade secrets is what it is. Stalking is a trade secret.
Stalking is fine.
Yeah.
No. And,
so you've been there since June?
And then I moved in September because I tried to, scale out of the program at Key as best as I could and move and do all those things. It wasn't a huge move, but I took a few months to get my things together and put everything in order and headed out. Started in the middle of September. So I am working with wine solely, which is fascinating.
What is, tell me, I don't know, I remember the name of the spot that you're at.
Camerata, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the concept there?
So they've been open for about 2.5 years. And there is a restaurant next door called Polly's. It's been around for about 20 years. Wow. And the owner there, Paul and David Keck, decided to do this wine bar. And it is just, it's in Montrose. And David is fighting the good fight for the wine side of things. Wow. Small producers, natural producers, just gets in cool bottles. He's all about education. Mm-hmm. And, he started up a Houston Somm Association with a bunch of other people. He's huge in the tech somm world. Helps with that. He's all over the place. I can't even list his
pedigree.
And I just really wanted to learn from him. So I was ready to move into the wine side of things, and I wanted to move to Houston, and I wanted to learn from him. So
you did it.
I did it.
That's amazing. So you've been there since September.
I've been there since September. Yeah.
So
it's been great.
It sounds like an amazing thing. You've got a lot of accolades for this too. Like people, they love you. You're on the Imbibe. What was it? Top 50 list. 75. Just make it 50. Just kidding. I'm
better
top
when there's
50.
less people.
25 less people. Some schmoes.
25, 10. I don't know.
How does that feel to kind of be recognized by the industry?
Oh, it feels cool, but it's a half and half kind of thing. I feel like it's one of those things where you've been working your butt off for a really long time, and part of you is like, yes, thank you, that's amazing, I'm honored, thank you. Then there's part of you that's just like, I need to do more, but that's just probably part of my personality.
That's what ambition is, I think.
Yeah, where you put your name out there and you're like, it's just, I need to work harder.
Yeah.
It puts a little bit more pressure on yourself to kind of be like, well, I want to do more things.
Right. But it's weird because I don't know where that stems from, right? Because you do great things. Like, man, if you just stopped right now, people would be like, you did some great things. You're doing great things. But that is not enough.
Not enough.
It's simply not, because one, you're not continuing to learn, because you have to keep continuing to learn. You have to keep exposing yourself to risk. Be fearful, because you have to just do these next things, and that's
absolutely,
that's what creates brilliance and excellence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. And that was kind of my, it's cool and it's awesome, and I'm surprised by it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited, and I just get more excited the reason why I get excited about it is because I hope that it can allow me to talk about other things, like we talked about, like female in the industry, mental health in the industry, things like that are really, really important to me. It just makes me realize that I want to work on that and have a voice for that a little bit more for, small producers, sustainability, all those things that matter to me. I get kind of like, oh, that's awesome. Now I got to do something with it.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think you realize that being an influencer, right? Being top 75 through and by, whatever it may be, that gives you the appropriate platform to talk about those other things. Because without it, you could still talk about it, but those things that put you on a national scale, that's what really helps elevate your message.
Sure. Yeah, I know. So I think that's probably where it comes from, where you're just kind of, you look at stuff like that and you're like, thank you. Thank you for,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. But now I got to, I got to get to work.
But now I got to work harder.
I got to get to work.
Right. What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
What's next? Right.
And I don't know if that's, it's just way it's always kind of been, but it hasn't been a bad thing so far.
And this is still, you're still relatively young, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be 30 in about a month.
30,
2 months. 2 months.
How old you are, Rachel. Jeez.
The big 3-0.
That's not old. To think of what you've accomplished in this short amount of time and have that reputation and the accolade from your community in the industry. You're not even 30. Shame on you.
Thanks, Mike.
I just turned 36. I'm going to admit this. And it's like, I feel like I've done some stuff, but
Thanks,
but I'm 30. I'm closer to 40 than you are. I mean, you're close to 30, but 40 is way worse. It's way worse.
I haven't thought about that yet.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta talk to some people, that are a little bit older than me. Like, I think Bostic's a couple years older than me.
Yeah.
Those guys approaching 40. What do you do then? Jesus.
I don't know.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. Well, hopefully continuing to feel the same way. Continuing to feel like you need to do more. Yeah.
My mom tells me all the time, she's going to be 70 this year. No, 69 this year. 70 this year. And she says, I look in the mirror and I feel exactly the same as I did when I was 18. I just am not in the same body anymore.
Oh.
And I'm like, it's sad kind of, but it's also amazing that you can keep that same level of mental acuity and that same vivaciousness of youth, Yeah,
my grandfather used to say that. He used to say, it's not, what did he say? It's not as old as you are. You're as young as you feel, or something.
Yeah. I love that, though. Totally
and he was like 92, like doing laps at the Y.
Oh, that's amazing.
He was eating meatballs and pasta and spaghetti every day.
Well, you have to go to the Y if you're going to do that. It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
So the last question that I've got for you, and I try to have more wine people on. Like I've been talking to June. I want to have June on.
Good.
Paula Restaurant
both
recently, which is
people
wonderful.
that I look up to.
Yeah, amazing.
Immensely.
Just great influences and people to look up, mentors in this industry. Wine. Why do you think? And this isn't all people by any means, but why do you think it's so implicitly snooty? And that people are just they're so arrogant about wine. What is it about wine that maybe encourages people or just gives them this credence to just be so arrogant about stuff? I think about a couple people that I know in town and, and.
That's a good question.
But luckily, the arrogance, one of the places just closed down. So maybe the arrogance, maybe it took its toll.
I don't know. I mean... Oh, God, that's a really hard question because I don't know. I actually don't know.
Do you have
I wish
like
it
a
wasn't
more clear...
there.
Because maybe I'm biased. right? Maybe that's it. Maybe
No,
I'm just.
I mean, the song world's pretty competitive, and
Yeah.
I think that comes out a lot. More so than I've seen in the bar industry. Actually,
Yeah, there we go. There's definitely a
there's a
contrast.
competitive nature to it.
Mm.
And I will say, like, the work that people put in, especially for, certifications and things like that, is intense. I mean, I'm working on it. I'm in the court. I'm working on my level 3,
Yeah.
and the things that you need to learn are
Insane. Yeah.
So what these people know is it's insane. They have an incredible, immense amount of knowledge.
Right.
But I don't think that should ever. I think what we are as professionals is more of a vehicle to, get people to like the things that we like
Right.
in a way that we can communicate with them why they should be drinking this or why they would like it, or to let us like be in our hands, please.
Right.
Because you're not exposed to a lot, and that's okay. That's what we're here for. That's what our job is to kind of expose you to this world and talk to you about it in a way that you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's my job.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Them and what they're open to versus you and your agenda.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like you can get people to enjoy the really geeky things that you want them to like, or the things that you're into, by also finding bridge wines and talking about it in a way that is relatable. So I don't know why. I mean, I wish it wasn't that way. It is.
It is, isn't it?
Like, it can be. For
it can
sure.
be. And
there are times where I feel intimidated, and I'm in the wine,
right.
And
you're a notable figure in the wine world.
And I feel intimidated half the time going into places not knowing certain things.
Yeah.
But there's so much out there to learn, and that's where I think education comes in, and communication, and knowing that what we do isn't about our egos, and it's about the
empowerment
guest and hospitality at the end of the day.
Right.
Education and empowerment, hospitality, and guest interaction, and making people feel comfortable and excited, and getting people as excited about these things as we are.
It's not about us.
No, absolutely.
That's the problem. It's not about us, right? It's about them.
That's what I think.
It's about the guest.
Yeah, that's the job that we do at the end of the day, whether it's booze or food or whatever. It's hospitality.
Right.
I think that gets lost.
It does.
A lot.
I'm all over the place. And if I have an experience with someone who's gonna fucking peacock me, I'm done past that. I am
I'm done with that.
I've had to deal with lots of shit in the booze industry, regulations, production, whatever. And you're going to sit there and peacock me. So that's why I have just this tinge of negative energy towards a few people in the wine community. Now, they're males. So all the females I've met that are amazing.
No, See?
Yeah, what the fuck,
I'm kidding.
guys? Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. You're in your boys' club.
That's right.
No.
And I am a boy, I think, or at least a man. I'm at least a man, probably.
Yes.
So, but it's something.
I don't know, but I think it's not. I don't think that's. I think it's indicative of every industry.
Yeah.
There are these people in every industry.
It's true.
There's the female, male, every industry in different ways. Like, it's not just us in the booze world.
And I'm not trying to point fingers.
No, I know, but it's okay.
But you're right.
It happens.
It is. It does.
It's out there.
Yeah.
No one's gonna deny that.
Well, no one's stopping me here. I can say what I want. It's nice.
It's your own damn podcast.
It's in my house. Who cares? Oh, you're mad at me. I'm sorry.
But I do think that people need to start realizing that it's not. I think people need to start remembering that we're in the business of hospitality.
Right. The business of people.
Yeah. And the innate kind of competition between people doing the same things as you are. And I know this is kind of a little out of place, but like, also, what I didn't like as a female, that was huge as a female in the bar industry. With very little of us in the industry, it gets competitive in a
that's a good
weird
point,
way.
yeah.
Like in that kind of like way that you don't want people to point out that you're catty because you don't want to be that girl.
Right.
But for some reason, like it's there because you're all vying for that top female position.
Right.
It's, everybody's kind of vying for a little bit of something for themselves. But, at the end of the day, it's not that isn't what we do.
And that's not why we're here.
No. And you're either, and I get excited to have that kind of stuff because I want a platform to do more.
Yeah.
And I hope that's why people also do it for,
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I think
We're a bunch of
ultimately that's why.
optimists, Mike.
Yeah, I'm an optimist. It's as
Dreamers
weird as
over
it
here.
sounds. People think I'm so cynical, but like, no, I love people. People do good things.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, like being able to sit in this room and having wonderfully positive conversations with people,
Yeah.
that is inspiration for me. Just even taking it to the
Absolutely.
next day to day,
Yeah. So I hope, that's one thing that I've always kind of disliked about the industry a lot is the competitive nature. And
Yeah.
I've seen it in both ways. I've seen it in the bar world. I've seen it in the wine world too, where people have very much tried to make me feel inadequate or intimidated or whatever all the time.
It happens everywhere.
Yeah, and it does. But we can't be doing that to our guests, A, and B, like, power in numbers, man. We could be doing so much more if we work together.
Instead of working against each other.
I know that sounds all
No.
dippy.
No.
Over here.
It's totally true. It's science,
So
man.
stop it.
It's science.
We want people to drink, if we want to stop people from drinking their, vodka martinis and their white Zin, we got to all get on board here and learn how to communicate and get people to want to try new things. So,
It totally does.
and isn't that why we can't complain about all that and then not do anything about it?
That's how it happens, though. But we don't have to complain. I think you and I are very optimistic.
I know we are.
And we're trying to promulgate a wonderful highbrow narrative and make it about other people because it's about them, not us.
Agreed.
So thank you so much for drinking this 53% ABV.
Thank you for letting me have to. I shouldn't say that because then everyone else who comes in will think they can have it.
No one's getting it now. It's off limits. It's going into the pantry.
Off the
Bordelais
menu. 86 Eric Bordelais.
But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip in Austin.
Mike. I will. It's a short one, but I am happy to be back.
I think it's going to be great. Thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you, Mike.
Talk soon.
This is great.
Well, there you go. What do you guys think? Rachel is very bright. She's not even 30. She's a sommelier at Camarada in Houston, Texas. She was working at Key. She was working at Midnight Cowboy, Fino, all these wonderful spots. And she's not even 30. It makes me very optimistic about the future of this industry of hospitality. And I think there's a lot of people in their 20s really eager to put in the time and willing to do the work that it takes. But that kind of aside for a second, Rachel and I talked about something off the mic after the interview that struck me, and that is the pork roll. It's something that I, as a Austinite, do not fully understand, and people from New Jersey have been talking about this phenomenon called the pork roll. Maybe I'm overselling it, but if anybody knows where to get a pork roll in Austin, Texas, it might be something worth exploring. So thanks, everybody, for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter what you're eating in New Jersey, how Italian you might be, or what kind of wine you're drinking, please keep dancing.